function or request. So that if that could be clear.
Okay, okay. Let us, yeah, let us see one thing. Okay. Suppose this is our user controller, right? And this is our add, then this is our update function, right? So if you want to update only a phone number, a particular phone number, then what we can do, we can create a new, I would say new routes, right? And then we can do that thing. Or one thing, one more thing we can do, we can give a type checks. I mean, we can give some types and then generate this uh, JSON which we want to update. Like we can ask the UI person to send some types. Types maybe update types, maybe only email, only mobile number, or everything. Then based on the types, we will create this JSON which we want to update, and then we just have to pass that JSON here. This was the thing you were asking, right? I mean, or can you show your
Yes.
screen and then show me your problem? Because today's class, see, I just want to make this today class an interactive class where I will try to clear all your problems. I mean, whatever thing I have teach you, it's not that I have teach you to teach you. I mean, I teach you so that you can work with these codes. Okay, and these are enough. These are enough to build any, I would say, any works, any projects work, whether it's in industry or for your learning. This is enough. I mean, these are the things you have to learn, and rest of the thing that will come with your experience. Okay, that cannot be taught by anyone. That will come uh, with your implementation or with your project requirements, right? And with your experience. So that's why today's session I will not teach anything new. In next session I will teach you something, but today's session I have made to clear everything. Whatever thing I have teach you, you all must have to must know like how to implement those things. Okay, that would be better.
Okay, so I cannot share my screen now because I'm doing the Skype on mobile. I'm not
Okay,
currently in
okay,
my house, so but
okay, okay.
I tried
No issue,
to
no issue.
pass. Yeah, I tried to pass inside the update object. I just wrote the request.body so that anything I
Okay.
pass into the update data object would
Mhm.
update, but it wasn't working. So and I changed it from post to patch because I remember you said that when you want to do an update function, you do patch or put. So I thought it was a
Yeah.
typo that you wrote post.
No, 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 no. The one possible reason for that, whenever you post any data, okay, in JavaScript, um, or in any API, you have to consider two things. Let me show you. Uh, if you are making any post function, first of all we have to send this header. Okay, content type application JSON. If you don't send this header uh, in our REST API, this will I mean those application will consider these as a string, not as a JSON. Okay, so whether you are sending this headers along with your postman or not.
Okay, okay. So I need to check that content type as application JSON.
Yeah, this is a very important thing, because if you don't pass this content type application JSON in your REST API, it will only consider whatever thing you are sending, whatever data you are sending as a string. Okay, so it will not consider those as a JSON. It will consider those as a string, and then it will not pass in a body. Okay, it will pass in queries or queries. So in that way, it will behave.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. I'll
Yeah.
test it when I get home.
Yeah. So anybody have any issue with fetch and update with the I mean with the database? Any issue or any questions with whatever thing you have learned here regarding the structure which I have developed for you? Any question regarding structure or regarding uh, the fetch and update thing, or I would say CRUD functionality which we are doing, or anybody have any issue? See, be vocal. We all are learning, right? We will learn with the time. So any issue you can come up. Like Colin have told, like he could not able to post. I shown him one or two reason, like what could be the possible reason. Any have
Firdous sir,
any issue? Yes,
Firdous sir, actually at the beginning of the class, you taught that with the same root name, we can have
mm,
multiple root. Okay, so
correct.
there could be something that next or something which actually can be implemented so that the root name can be distinguished. Okay, the same root name can be distinguished. So can you just give me a small brief over there?
Okay. Regarding route, what I told, like ideally every route should be a distinct one. Okay, but some case might be there. Like we can use the same routes. Okay, we can use the same routes like this, right? We can have the same routes. Okay.
Add user into like add user, we have two routes. Name add
Yeah,
user, but one
yeah.
is
We have
the
we have two routes, right? I mean this is possible. They allow. And then what we can have with this, we can have a next function also. Okay. It will not be done here. It will be okay. Mm, yeah, it will be here. Okay, it will be here, right? So what it will do, we have two functionalities. Okay, and then right. So we have another callback. Inside callback, we have another callback. So generally, it's not advisable. We should not do this way. I mean, with the advance of microservices, we want to separate all the application what in all possible way. So these were in used when we were using a monolithic application. Okay, like this is for our add user for user, and this is for our admin. Okay, add admin. But ideally we should not use this. So what will happen whenever we will make a call, since both are same routes, it will call the first route, and see, inside a callback I call another callback, another function. Okay, and that function is this. I can when it get complete, uh, if success, I mean, if I give some condition, if this to be called. Okay, to be called, then it will call this function. Else it will call the next function. If we write something like this. Okay, if we write something like this, then what would happen? um, with the same route, we can give a two different functionality, two different controller, but ideally it is not advisable. We should not do this thing. Okay, we should always divide our application in such a way, write our application in such a way, like if we are in a small stage, we are using it as a monolithic application. And if our architecture tell you, no, we will move to the microservice one, then we can utilize the same code. Okay, or even if we work in a microservice architecture, we can use the same codes among the teams. Okay, that's why those
monolithic architecture. Monolithic architecture means that model view controller, whatever actually we are using.
see, code structure would be the same if you are in monolithic application or a microservice architecture. Code structure for Express would be the same. So the difference between monolithic and the microservice architecture mean for what like in our code we I have defined the different routes, right? This route defines the different functionality, correct?
Hmm.
like
Yes.
like this access route, I mean, what I think before creating this route, like all the access related activity will happen in this route. Okay, admin route mean all admin related activity will happen, those API I will write here. right? Right now, it's just a CRUD functionality. With the growth of your project, the functionality would be added up, and then we will have different routes also. So what I will do, I will add all the admin related route here. Then for admin type, we have this. So in microservice, what we do, we instead of creating a one application with this much of routes or this much of controllers, we will create separate projects. Like for our case, I mean, I have created this much of routes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It can be 11 different services. Instead of project, we call those as a services, okay, which do a particular stuff. So instead of one application in your projects, you will create 11 different services.
Okay.
You got my point? What we do in microservice? Yeah, sorry, I cannot hear you. Can you repeat again? Okay. So what we do, we create 7 different services, and there will be some kind of, I would say, API gateway in between those, which will decide, like for mean if a request come, then it will go to which services. Let me show you one small structure. Okay, I made some custom, I would say. Let me show you. Okay, suppose this is one of the structure, okay, which I have made a small structure which will decide where to go. Okay, so this is our one, I would say this is our one application, this is our second application, this is our third application. Okay, so in total I have 4 application running. 4 application mean I have 4 services, sorry, 3 services running based on their functionality. So in microservice, what we do, I mean, our approach is, even if there are any issue, any bug in the server, okay, in the server, what will happen? We cannot hit all the 9 APIs if our server is down, correct? So if our projects become very big, very huge, and we want our servers or our application to be up every time, so we divide everything in services. And what is the benefit of doing that? Suppose if we have any issue with this route, and whenever we are trying to run this thing, it's failing. What will happen? People cannot able to access this access route, but the whole application will be in a running state, but we cannot able to hit the APIs which are related with the access route only. Okay, and in monolithic, the problem would be if there are any issue with this, and then our whole application cannot be up. Okay, if I do any mistake here, then due to this mistake, sorry, due to this mistake, our whole application will be down, right? Our application are getting crashed. So in order to, and whenever we will hit any API, we will get some issue, because due to this one page issue, our whole application would have to suffer. So what they did, I mean, they have created one new, I would say, no, it's not a new microservice architecture, is not a new, but they have used this architecture so that if it's down, then only this service, this 4 API, we cannot hit. We can hit the rest of the API. Okay, that's why they separate everything. They developed everything separately, and then in order to make a call, we can make an inter-service communication or service gateway through those. We can make a HTTP calls, or I would say I mean, some call between those two, communication between those two functionality if we need, and then we developed our application. So
Means
suppose if
for
you,
access
yeah,
route, means
yeah,
the access route is a different project. Access route and associate controller and associate everything is a different project. And
everything is totally different. Okay.
and admin route and associate other controllers and associate database are a different project in microservice
Yes,
architecture.
yes, everything are different. Okay, like for this, I have. I mean, this is a. I mean, this is one of the application. Okay, you can see I wrote nothing, right? And inside the routes, what I did, uh, like we have to register our service. Okay, we have to register our service at some place, generally in KVM or in any uh, it may be any file or it may be inside a cloud. We have to tell like what are the services. Okay, some kind we have to create some kind of gateways, like if we hit this URL, go to this URLs. Okay, um, I mean check whether it is coming from the right place or not, all those things. So generally what happen, we make one center point, and every API that we call as a gateway. So from outside world we call that gateway, and then in that gateway it is decided like on which service we have to call. Okay, and if you see the structure, see, mean it will have a multiple. Mean we can have a multiple projects. Like this would be one project, this would be another project, and then from one place, I would say in API gate from API gateway, we decide like which service we have to call. Okay, S- so like this, this kind of configuration we have to develop. Like we have this service. Okay, this one service, this two service, right? These three service, so we have a different services, and then based on the API which we hit, the URLs or the host which we provide or the URLs which we provide, we call those service from that API gateway. So yeah, so for our example, what I did, see, this is one application because it has its own gateway, right? This is running on port number 3000, correct? And then I try to make it as a gateway. Then I would say the center, or the center place from where we will decide we will call what kind of API. And here we can do a load balancer also, so that this application will run on multiple server. Okay. Or we will have a horizontal scaling and vertical scaling, those kind of configuration we can develop. And then here, whenever a request come, we create some kind of registry, like this KVM registry, that can be at some place. It can be configured inside your server or inside your clouds, or some kind of Git we manage, like we have this much of URL or this much of services. So from this only we can identify, like okay, these are our services. These run on these ports number. Okay, this one run on 3001 port number. Sorry, it so if we hit this API, it will go to 3001 port number, right? In this switch, our main service run on some different port number. So what we have made, we have made a different application altogether. If you see this fake API, this is another application, right? This is another application which have some post get URLs, uh, but we cannot call directly. We cannot call directly from outside world. We will have some restriction here, so that it can only be called from this place, from this gateways. Okay. So so from outside world, we will call this, we will hit this API gateway. We will have some configuration, registry configuration, which determine like if we are calling this API, then it should goes to the which URLs, or what should be the actual URL, which the request should go. Then we will have some load balancer in between, that will decide, okay, instead, this services will run on multiple, I would say, server. Okay, then through load balancer we decide which service it should be hit, and which server it should be hit. So based on that, it will call the actual service which we determine here. So this is a kind of a, I would say, a microservice architecture, right? Which we used to work. and very simple. Mean the codes and everything would be very simple, very easy. Mean much lesser than what we write in monolithic application. So this microservice 2 would be on different gates. Microservice 1 would be on different gates. Fake API, this will be on different GitHubs, Git URLs, and your main application or your API gateway would be on different gates. Okay. In that way, the different team would manage the different services. So in that case, we generally call services instead of whole application. You got the essence, like what is microservice and how we do that?
Okay, you were just explaining, right? Because you said a lot of things, load balancing, gateways, and everything. Cause I was so confused.
Yeah, I mean that's what I say. I mean, learning is just a way to understand, but main thing is your I mean the way you implement. The implementation is totally different than learning, right? I mean, yes. I mean, generally load balancer. What we do? I mean, suppose we have three server. Uh, I mean, big application may have different server. Server 1, server 2, server 3. Okay, server 1, server 2, and server 3. When we deploy our application, whether it is fake application or KVM, microservice 1, microservice 2, what happened? It deploy on all three server. Okay, so server 1 contain microservice 1, same. This will also contain uh, microservice 2, microservice 3. Okay, so what we do, I mean, what we do, we deploy all microservice on different server. I mean, this can be configured based on your cloud configuration. Okay, based on your cloud or your deployment configuration, we can in big project what they do, they deploy the whole application on different server. Okay. And one thing, this microservice architecture ideally should be used for big projects, not for small projects. Okay, if you do for a small projects, then this will cost a lot. There will be lots of costing because you have to maintain different servers, different port, and all those things. So what load balancer do? Suppose we hit a request 1, request 2, request 3. Okay, in this way, I would say 10,000 requests come in 1 minute. Okay, what load balancer do? It will try to distribute this 10,000 requests among the three server. Like what will happen? 333 will go to server 1, 333 server will go to server 2, and then 334 will go to server 3. In this way, we have to configured our server so that whenever a request come, it get distributed. Okay, among the different server we have. So that's we call as a load balancer. So these features we call as a load balancer. Okay, and now you understand something like what is microservice architecture, right? Basics, ABC of them.
Yes, I get. Yeah, I get the concept. I think it's going to take a while for me to be able to do something like that.
Yeah. That's why this can only be done if you have a big team, and if you have a big projects, because this microservice 1 could be handled by team A, team. Okay, so for that we have a different, I would say, we should have a different team. We should look the projects, then we should have a different team which look this configuration server thing. There should be a different team which look for this API gateways part. So uh, that's why I said it should only be used, mainly be used, I would not say only, mainly be used by big teams. Okay.
Because whenever whenever we like in our earlier application, whenever actually we have request for any API, okay, from the postman end
Yeah.
or server end, it
Yeah.
is directly go to the our application, and API routes will actually route ourselves to the controller, and controller will call the database. It is the basic
Correct.
architecture what we have at present.
Correct.
But in
Correct.
microservice, whenever we call an API, okay,
Mhm.
then the API will straightly hit the microservice.
Correct.
Then
Let me
microservice call another one project.
let me explain you that. Okay. See, I am not uh, showing all those things which we get from any document. Okay, this is what I implement or our projects implement. Okay, so so if you find something more interesting, then you I mean after this just do some research like what you get in net. You will get to know some more interesting thing, and then you can align this, right? So we can do this thing on a different way. We can do this thing in on APIs. In API, for that we use a load balancer, yeah, as Costo said, like in monolithic application, we call the actual URLs, right? In microservice architecture also, we can call the actual URL, but it is not advisable. If you do that thing, then it's mean you are not utilizing the microservice architecture. You are just calling an API. Okay, so it's not following the microservice architecture, I would say, rule and regulations. Okay, so generally what we do as a developer who have worked on microservice architecture, like before going to the main API, if we have something to draw, okay, that would be better. Yeah. I'm very bad at drawing. Okay, so I mean, this is our client, right? This is our client. Let me write, and that would be better. Sorry. This is our client, right? Then we have something called server. Let me create a small one. So, right, and what we do, I mean, earlier on, what we used to do, we used to directly call an API. Our firewall security. Okay, security check. So what microservice did, what microservice architecture did, when they said no, instead of this, instead of creating a single server, let us create a multiple server. So what happened? What happened in microservice architecture? Let me, yeah, we have a client, then in between the client and server, uh, like our traditional application, we will have the securities. Okay, firewall, security, blah blah, and everything, right? So every request from the client should go to security check, and then from security check, if it's from valid domain, if it's coming from valid user, then it will go to server. Okay. Now, what microservice? Here, what we have done, what we usually used to do. is to create another, sorry, it is to create another layer of services, which is called the API gateway. Okay. Gateway. And here we implement multiple things. Like if a load come, then then from here only we passed to the actual server. Yeah, to the actual server. Okay. And before sending it, we do some load balancing and everything. Okay. Like instead of single server in microservice services, as the name suggests, it will have a different server. Oh, I don't know why it does not pick up. It will have the different server instead of single. So instead of single server, it will have a multiple server. Okay. Am I taking your time, or this is good?
Yeah, it's good to have the idea. I think it's okay.
And I will be out.
Okay. Yeah. Server 3. And then again server 4. If we hit any API, suppose if we hit create user. Okay. So what we have done, we have created 4 server. So request may go to any of these 4 server. So what we have done with this thing, if we have followed architecture, so what we have done, instead of one single server, we have 4 server, right? So the power, and if we deploy this thing on cloud, so this this server configurations or server memories can be a dynamic one. Okay, so this server I mean, if we utilize cloud a better way, so we can have dynamic. Okay, let me reduce the size also. So this server can have a dynamic memory. Okay. And everything mean dynamic configurations. So, right. So instead of one instance, we can run a multiple instance, and inside the server you will have your services. Okay. So each server will have the services which you have. And if I say this, let me, for example, if you have 2 services, okay, service S1, I have to make a very big thing. So let's go to the next page. Okay. Okay, let me, what I have to do. Anybody, do you know how to reduce, how to make a next page in here? What happened? Okay, let me save this thing. Okay. S1.
You have to
Now what we
new.
do, we deploy a yeah, I have to create a new. Okay, let it be. So now now from that I'm server. Okay, we have multiple server, and while our deployment, we have to configure our application such a way, like all your application or all your server will deploy on different, I would say, server which you have. Okay, this is your service S1. It can be a user service. Okay, user service. This can be some other service S2. Okay, S2. Let me be. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, let me increase this. So same thing will follow in each of your server. So when you do a deployment, so instead of deploying application on one server, what it will do, it will deploy your application on each of the place. Mean M1 will also deploy here. M2 will also deploy here. Okay. Okay. So when we have our mean, now what happened? I mean, as per our first diagram, what we have seen, like whenever we are calling any APIs, whenever a client make a request, it goes to the farewell and security checks, then it go to the API gateway, and we have different server 1, 2, 3, 4. So based on load balancer, based on the pressure which we have in our server, the requests go to any one of the server. Okay, and then during deployment, when we push our code to deployment, what we do, when we have a multiple server instance, we deploy our code on the multiple instance also. Okay, and in between that, I mean, without database our application cannot run. So this server will again point to one or multiple database. It can be one. Let me, yeah. So these services will point to one or multiple database. Okay, this server. Okay, okay, fine. Yeah. So this database can be MySQL, and the second database can be uh, Oracle or MongoDB. Right now, again, instead of single database, actually there will be multiple instance of this database. Instant mean actually from here we will not call directly to our database. We will communicate this instance. Okay, this instance mean the carbon copy of database. Okay, so this instance 1, instance 2, instance 3. Instance 2, instance 3. Okay, same thing will happen for MongoDB also. So what will happen, whenever any request come, instead of calling the database directly, it will call this instance. Okay, and whatever thing they have to do, they will do those things. Okay, then what happen? After certain time, it may be 10 second, 1 minute or something, they will if there any update, they will update the main database, and then they will update the inter instance also. Okay, and if they have to fetch those any data, I mean, if there are no update, then instead of calling main database, they will call a particular instance and get the data from database. So again, similar to our database, similar to our server power, our database power also will get increased. Okay, by the number of time, the number of instance which we make. Suppose if heavy load works comes up, then this instance number 3 will be busy in adding the data in the database. But meantime, if these two instance will be free, and with the load balancer, the request will come to those instances which are free. So even if inside our database we are doing some kind of heavy database insertion work or update work, then also the other instance are free, and from these instance we can get the data. Okay. Only problem with this is they would be lagging of 10 second or 20 second, if there are some huge updates are going on, and we want to see that those update at that instance only. Okay, if we call the fetch API, I mean, again, so there might be some lagging 5 or 10 second, but that also depend upon your configuration, what kind of database you have, and how you have created your application. Okay, so I think this is I mean, one of the microservice architecture that we have followed in our application, and I would say this is the basics of the diagrams, or I would say the logical diagram which we which in microservice architecture follow, and there can be many other things, like there will be a Kubernetes in between, okay, Kafka, and many other things. I mean, I also don't have those great experience of those things, but there can be many other thing for the different things. Okay. So, did you able to know? Did you able to understand those things? Like, what are these? What are these micro and how it works? Am I audible?
Yeah, Firdous.
Yeah, Venkat and Castor, did you understand this thing?
Yeah, Firdous.
Yes. So they can be different way. Okay, I mean, based on the architecture, based on your server configuration and your needs, this can be different. But this is one of the way. Okay. So the next question, any question you have with what I have taught you till now? I mean, are you able to develop those by your own? Then well and good. Vinit, did you able to create the two function which I told you, like to call the mobile ATP or to send mail? Uh, no. Okay. Kasto, did any problem for you on your side in regarding these updates? I mean, CRUD functionality,
No,
or how
as
you
of
will
now,
create a new routers. Okay, you know how to
actually
create a new
Swagger part,
routers.
I have missed out. So actually missed out means I attend the class, but I could not implement it. So today I will do it. If any issue occurs, I will give my URL, Git URL in here. If you found anything, then just guide me. I will implement it
Okay,
in
okay.
the
Let me
Swagger
just
part.
yeah, let me just relearn those things, like whatever thing I have used, I taught you. Like first thing is some important thing. Like first thing, if ideally all our configurations thing, all everything should be in our .env file. Why? Because when we put our code in server, then this env, I mean, ideally it has been developed in such a way, like if you're using Node.js application, then it will look for this .env file. Okay, And if you're using a Java application, then it would look for the dot property file. What happened? Um, mean, they will not read any data from this place. They will exclude this thing inside server. Okay. So in a place where I have implemented this, if you go and check this thing, yeah, what we are doing, we are calling the process. Okay. So process being the environmental, I would say process, the environment where you are. If you are running your application locally, then this process mean it will check for .env file. It's a Node.js process. Okay. So you can see it's a Node.js process, and Node.js engine will check for this .env file. You can see the main definition that property return the object containing the user environment. Okay, and for our local environment, it will be the .env file, and if it's on certain server, then it will look for uh, that that server environmental files. Okay, got it. So if you push this thing in server, it will not read it from here. You have to go to the server. You have to create the same name, the variables with the same names. Okay, this name inside your server configuration. Then also then only this code will work. Else what will happen? It will give some kind of errors. So this thing we are good. Then regarding how we require those things, it's fine. Okay, this is regarding Swagger. So for Swagger, what I have done, I have to I mean install Swagger UI Express, and then first in order to generate a Swagger URL for your URLs, you have to create a Swagger documents. Okay, Swagger documents is nothing but it contain all kind of information regarding the URLs. What should be your request? What should be your response? Okay, what response you will get for success? What response you will get for errors? So those kind of definitions we declare inside our Swaggers, and then you can see I have uh, in, included the custom CSS which is inside our Swagger CSS files. Okay, and then we have included those in the Swagger server, Swagger UI setups. So in this way, it will run. And here, what I did not want to run Swagger in production. So therefore, I have given this condition. Okay, this environment I am reading from this environment variables. So if we go and see our Swagger JSON, like what we have done here. So this is one kind of examples. This is the version. With every release, you can increase the version also. Description, your application description, or what kind of thing you want to show in this application, that and this is your application version. Okay, this is a Swagger version, this is your application version. Title, any developer contact you want to show, license you want to show. So this thing, when you run your application, and if you open your application that is running on port number 3000, this URLs, the URL which we have defined here. Okay. Why we use API dot docs? Because this we used everywhere. Okay. I mean, this is ideally this keyword are used for Swagger URL. Swagger URL is nothing but the documentation of your application. Okay, it's giving error. Why? Because I think I have kept my environment as productions. Okay, right. So therefore, we cannot hit the URL. Okay, let it be development. Then I have to restart, because if we do any configuration change, then we have to restart the server. This is one of the uh, thing which we need to know. Okay. Okay, so whatever thing I have written here, whatever thing I have written inside our Swagger JSON, you can see those things are coming here. Like this is a sample Node.js project to demonstrate this, the API task and the email. You can see everything. See, like this is this is version which we have. Sorry, this is the version which we have declared. This is the task API. So based on your need, you can give the definitions. And here you can see we are determining the path. Okay, this is our base path. The path, this is our base. So you can see here they have declared like this is our base path. Okay, and then for this after that, this is our if you check the URL, it would be localhost 3000 and this is the type of a URL, whether it's get or post. And you can give summary like why we are using this API, what we need to send. So this says produce mean what we get back from this API. If it was a string, then we have to call write string. If it's a JSON, then we have to write application/JSONs. This is do we need to send any parameters or not? We are not sending any parameter, then we make this blank, and this is the response. Okay, so what I did, let me show you one thing, one example. Okay, yep. So our projects was having some issue. I would say it has some issue because I did not make uh, the response consistent. Okay, so if we check this thing now, if you see this application, let me copy the whole application. Now, if you see those applications, you will see uh, I have made a response consistent. Okay, so if you're implementing Swagger, before that you have to make all your response consistent. Mean for 500 error there should something. Okay, so in this way you have to make some consistency. If you don't make your application consistent, then you cannot develop the Swagger URLs. You will have always have a problems. Okay, so I will change the code little bit. So I would request you all to pull up those code and then try again. Okay, you will why I told you to make it consistent. If you make a consistent, then only you can create a functional response schema. Okay, functional response schema mean how it would be, how it would look like. Okay, like for 4000, if for whole application if I make a consistent call, then I can make a single schema, and then I can reuse those schema again and again. And if we did not make the response we have right now, we don't have a consistent response. Okay, we don't have a consistent response because at some place we are just sending a list, and we don't know what kind of key it will happen. Some place we are, so it can be an array or can be a JSON, and in this case we are just passing the error, and I know error will be a string kind of thing. So there is no consistency. It can be an array, it can be a string, or it can be a JSON. So we don't know like how we are passing, like for this case it's a JSON, right? So if we are implementing a Swagger, we should have a consistent application, consistent response. Then only we can utilize this reference is nothing but a, I would say, a a JSON where we declare like what kind of data it should contain. Okay, so this is a JSON. Its type is object, or it can be an array, and inside this we declare like this is properties we will be getting. Okay. So if you can create this thing properly, then only you can implement a Swagger. So I have changed something. So I will merge my code here, and then we can use that thing. So in this way we can implement Swagger. Next thing what I teach you. Uh, route like before developing anything, if you have a different if you have a different features, then your route always should be different. You cannot merge in the routes. Okay, you should, I mean for this route, this routes or this controller, I would say, I will only functionality, right? If this admin inside this admin route, there should be other routes which are related to admin. Yeah, there might be some case like we need to fetch a two different API, but I mean from one API we might need to call the different API, but try to write your code in such a way like it should be as much difference as we can. Why I'm telling this? Because in that way we can determine the loads which we have. Okay, suppose for login, generally how much load and we have another routes that is buy or purchase. Okay, so if you launch any new application, then which of these two routes will have more request out of this? Suppose today is your launch date, okay, and thousands of people are waiting for your application. Then what might happen? Like on that particular day, we will have huge, instead of logging, let me call as registration. Okay, you are running some survey. So what would happen? We will have a huge load in this route only, right? Because today we have launched our application, thousands of people are waiting. First, they will do registration. So if we develop our application in such a way, and then we can move our application to microservice one. We can change the architecture easily, since we have make the application in such a way like one route do one functionality. It does not use the other code. I mean, if we only write this code standalone, then also our application will not have any issue, any problem. So that's why we write, so that if our project become very big, very huge, I mean millions of people use this thing, then we can convert our application to microservice one. Okay. So what will happen if this is a load, if we have a huge load and we run this in a microservice architecture, then we can give balancing. I mean, I would say increase the memory, dynamic memory through clouds or through your architecture. We can do that thing, and our application does not hang for that time. Okay. Generally, what was happening, what used to happen earlier. That's why we have to make a different route independently. I mean, without depending upon the others. Okay. Okay. So I have taught you this. Any question regarding this, like why we have created those routes and everything? We are good, right? Yeah. And then I have teach you one thing. Okay. Inside route, yeah, yes. So this is our route. In order to create a router in Express, you have to use these two lines, and then this route will, I mean, whether it's a post or get or put call, we have to provide this. Yeah. See, in between the routes, what I have done or what I was expecting to done here is I can implement back. Okay. RBAC mean write based on your access control. Okay, write based on your access control. Like this is your admin route. Okay. So what I expect from this, okay, anybody of you can explain me what is this? What is this function called? Anyone? Whether I am the only person? No, Venkat or Costa, can you give it name? Like what is this? What is this function called and what it is?
1 second, just I'm going through the code.
Yes.
Get your
Okay, let me just decrease the size also. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think I have done on each routers. Okay, I have done on each router. I have created this and left it as it is. Okay, at a time. So you can see in each router what I did. I just left it as it is. But here, I done something. Okay. Actually, these are called middlewares. Okay, which mean these are middlewares for our router. Okay, and here what I did in whenever any request come to a server, okay, with /admin, what will happen from our server if it has a /admin URLs based in /admin, it will push it to this router. Okay, irrespective whether it's a get call, post call, or any other call. If irrespective of those things, it will come here. And then inside our admin route, this is our route. And before calling anything, I said, router, please use this thing first. Okay, please use it. Use this function first. When it get complete, then go to your next step. What is the actual URL which has been provided by the user? Irrespective of actual URL, you have to use this first, right? And this is middleware function. What I did, I have created some URLs, okay, like /admin /get admins, get particular admin, update admin, those kind. I mean the URLs which I have created here. Okay. Then what I did, I checked whether this URLs which I have whether this URL is coming from our request or not. Request.path will give you after base URL what I have. Okay. So and what I yeah custom. Hello. I think I've lost custom. Okay. So what I did, these are our authentic URL. These URL like this URL can only be accessed by those person who are authentic, whom I give the access to use this. And this kind of thing are called as RBAC. Okay. What I'm thinking, like only those user, those admin who are admin type, he or she can see the different admin. Okay, can update the admin or can add the admin. So for that, these are our URLs, and I'm checking whether the request contain these URLs or not. It may be I don't want I want this get admin can be seen by the others admins also. Okay, by other admin also. So that I can remove this thing. So out of these 4 URLs, add get particular admin and update admin. This can only be seen by the super user, but this get admin can be seen by any type of user. Okay. Okay. So I have done that. Then I checked like whether the URL which a client is hitting is in between these three or not. Okay. See, if it's not, then it will go to the next part. Means suppose if it's get admin, then it go to a get admin part and then provide the details. But I am authentic these two URLs, these three URLs, and for RBAC, what I said, like, okay, these three URL can only be seen by the super admin. Okay. Then what I did, I took the token. I told you, like whenever we will do the logging, we will get you back the tokens, and then inside the headers you have to pass this token. Okay. Then through this function, decrypt JWT, through this function, what I did, you can see, I simply decrypt the function. In login time, I have encrypted the function, but here, what I did, I decrypted the function. It's very easy. JWT.verify will with the token and access key. Then if you pass the token, then it will decode our token and give you back the data. Okay. So I
Firdous,
decrypted. Yeah.
what is data.type? From where data came?
Yes. Okay. Let me show you the encryption. Or let me show you the login controller. Okay. Login routes. Okay. Yep. So if we do any admin login, we call this function, right? We match their details, we get the data, we can have the types here. Okay. Dot do admin have a type? Let me just check it. So inside schema, where it is, model admin admin type. Okay. So login controller, login routes. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So during login, what I did, I created these payloads. Okay. Like I store these three things: email, first name, type. Okay. As JSON, and then I created the encrypted font, the JWT token, with this JSON and with our secret and everything. Okay. Let me show you that also. Yes. Sorry, can you are? I think you are very far away. I cannot hear your voice correctly. Can you tell me again?
No, Firdous, that is some disturbance from my room actually. Someone is talking.
Okay. Yeah, Kastuk, tell now. Hello. Okay. Okay. Before showing that, let me show you this login functionality. Then I think cost of answer would be fine. Like in login, you remember what I did, whether they have login from email ID or like that. So what I did for login, first we validate our validation is correct. Then we check the email, and then through our trigger, what we check. we check whether the password is correct or not. When it is correct, when it is everything fine, then we have done this thing. Okay, what we have done, see, based on the things which we use commonly, okay, which we can use later or also, we have created a payloads. Okay, we have created a JSON, and we have created a payloads, and we have make a JWT token with it, so that whenever we need this data, we do not need to call the database again and again. We can decrypt our token, we can validate those things, and we can have this data also, so that in later on, whenever we need to check anything, we will not tell the client person to send those data also, because at every place he could not have those data available. But once we do the login part, then we can have those data, we can fetch from the database and have those data, and use those data and create a token. So whenever we decrypt our token, it will first validate our token whether it's correct or not, and then it return this thing. It will return back me this thing. Okay. So with token, I mean with decrypted form, I can have email ID, first name, and type, right? So so with this data, I have done the encryption, and I had the token. I mean, get it from JWT, and what I did, I send it in response, okay, to the client. And from client in, after login to all the APIs, I mean, he have to send this token through headers. I think, Vinit, you told you are working in UI, right? So this thing, you might have been told, like, this is a token, you have to send the token in headers or in any place, right?
Yeah.
So we will send this token inside our header, and unless we send this token, we cannot access certain URLs. It will give us the error. So how those check has been done, or used to be done? So it is used to be in Node.js. We can do it through middleware. So that's what I created on that page. From login, we have a token, and inside a token, we have the details. Okay.
Okay.
Now, whenever we go to this admin controller, admin routes, before calling anything, I checked for this thing. Since I implemented right base access control, so only those users who have a right to access these URLs, he or she can only access the URLs. Rest cannot. Okay. So this RBAC for that RBAC I have used this middleware. What I did, I first checked like whether the request which I am sending, it's correctly or not. Whether it's the request which I have to authenticate or not. Yeah, from this I can say, yeah, I have to authenticate this URL, because in path I might have API to add the admin. Let me show you here. Like I might be calling this API, right? So if I don't send a header, like for this case, if I don't send a header, and if I try to hit this API, so last time it was working, but now it's giving some kind of error. Okay, let me see what happened. Okay, I have closed it. That's fine. So what will happen if I try to hit this thing and try to call the add admin API? See, what I did, did anything wrong? Okay, okay. Till that time, MongoDB was not connected. Admin.find. Mhm. Let me wait for 1 second. Okay. So what will happen? Since I did not given the token, so this part, after this part, it would have been failed, right? Okay, I did not given any. Yeah, it will give the error, and this thing would happen. Okay, let me see. Do I have any connection issue? And MongoAtlas. Yeah, I think there are a connection issue. Let me, yeah, there are connection issue. Okay, my IP address has been changed. Okay, got changed. Let me add that. So this kind of issue you might have faced at every week. What MongoAtlas do, it it change your dynamic IP. Okay, change your dynamic IP in each week. Bus, bus. This. What happened? No. Firdaus, Alam, only Alam, not dot. Yeah, it got logged. Okay. Okay, let me add my current IP there. Okay. So all of your APIs should be this. Meaning you should give some R back. Okay, and you have to check everything before before making the calls. Oh, it's taking lots of time today. Yeah, so what will happen? It will check the token, and if the token is not correct, then it will give us the timeout error. Okay, or I would say token authentication error. So this features is called. So we have to use this thing on every API, on every routes. We have to do this thing. Still did not got connected. Yeah, not active. Let me restart it. Okay, so I have done that. Okay, let it be. Yeah. Not getting response. Why it is not getting connected? Okay, there might be some issue with my connection string. Okay, let me see. No, this is my one. Mine one. Okay. Okay. Somehow I am getting the timeout error. Okay. Uh, so this function do that thing only. Okay. If you do it in your laptop, it will work. If you use your own connection string. Okay. Understandable what I did here?
Yeah, just some of the URLs you are allowing for only for super user. That's what.
Yes. Some of the URL I am allowing for the super user, but this thing you have to do it on each of your routes, which you don't want to make it public. Okay. So what you can do, you can create a common function, or instead of function, you can put this thing inside a middleware. Okay. I think I have created some uh, utils for the middleware also. Okay, or you can, yeah, inside your middleware you can have those things. Okay, these things you can cut and put it there. So for each and every routes, I would say not every each and every routes, But for some specific group of route, you have to give a group access. Like for login route, they cannot be any authentic check. It should be a public, right? It should be a public API. So here we cannot add any authentication middleware. For OTP routes also, we should not have any authentication. But for other thing like admin type, product, I mean, for product route also, if you're doing some listing kind of thing, um, you cannot implement this authentication in, in the routes, right? So based on your requirement, you have to provide this kind of routes or this kind of middleware on your application. Okay. So I have explained you this, and then what I did. Yeah. Regarding validations, also I have explained you every point. Like for validation, you have to first doing before doing anything, you have to do validation in data end, and then validation on server end. So these two kind of validation is must if you are doing any insert or update. Then regarding MongoDB query, see there are lots of MongoDB queries also. I mean you can utilize those query based on your requirement. MongoDB is a kind of big data, so so you have a lots of thing in database. I mean you can get the distance between two latitude or longitude. I mean many things are there which are good in MongoDB. I mean that's why it's been used at multiple places. Okay. The next thing which I told, like based on your response, what type of response you are sending, you have to send your status code also, like this 200 400 403, okay, 200. So based on what kind of data you are sending, whether it's a successful or errors, by default Node.js send 200 status code. But if you have to change your status code based on your response, type of response, whether it's an error, whether it's a validation error or everything. So this was it. Yeah. Then I explained you regarding the how you do joining in MongoDB. So to do joining in MongoDB, what you have to do, whenever you are creating any schema, you have to create the reference of that schema. Okay. So this tell like this region, whatever data it will have, it will join the next table. Okay. And what I used for joining, I have used the object ID of this table. Okay. And if you see this, we have to include schema also in order to use it. And in JavaScript, if you want to include multiple variables uh, from your main function, then you can use curly braces. Okay. So this will allow you to include multiple variables. So I'm including Mongoose and schema. Okay. From this Mongoose model. This thing also done. And then this dot populate, what it will do, it will populate the related data into this query. Okay. Yeah, we are good here also. I think that this is the only thing. Okay. The next two thing I have told you in last class to complete
So,
two features. Yes.
populate means one populate.
Okay. Populate mean, see if you see this thing, admin or admin type. Let me show you. Okay. Populate mean pick up the data from that tables. Okay, pick up the related data from that table. If you see the admin type schema. Okay, if you where it is admin type schema. Yeah. So in schema, what I did for region, what I declare, like this region should have an object ID and it should refer the region. Okay. Which region? This region is schema. If you see the region schema, I have declared the model name as region. Okay. So, so it will pick I mean, I will store this object ID there. By default, MongoDB create an object ID for your tables, for your data. So I will store here, and this region will be related to that object ID. Okay. this the object ID which will be here in this portion, it will be related with this region schema, with this region data. So if we use dot populate property, what it will do, it mean whatever ID I store here, since I have used the array, so the ID which we will be here, it will pick up those values which are present in this table. Sorry, what's it? Okay, I am on different table. That's why I could not able to connect. Okay, let it be. I log in on different account. Okay, so that's why we use populate. Okay, next thing to fun. Okay, so Kasta, any question right now? I mean, why you use populate? You
No.
understand, right? Yeah. So if you don't use populate, then what will happen? Instead of inside region, it will just uh, give the ID which we have inserted there. Okay, not the related data. Got it? So if you use populate, then instead of in this region portion, this thing, this details will get populate of that related region details. Okay. Let me show you. I think it will not work now. My database, I logged in onto different database. Okay, that's why. Okay. Now the next portion which I explained you, I think it, or the main portion, not, I don't think we need to learn any other thing other than the different type of queries which we make. Yeah, the two modules, the two very important modules which Node.js use. One is moment. Okay, moment.js. This module is very important because see, we can format the time on different way. Instead of wasting time creating the different function, we can use these modules to generate the time in the way which we want. Okay, so this is a very helpful modules which you can use. And for JSON structuring, like JSON restructuring or JSON structuring, we have Lodash. Okay, Lodash module. So try to use these two modules. Mm, it would be very helpful. So just go and check like what it is, how we use this thing. So any kind of JSON or array restructuring, we use this modules, Lodash modules, and for I would say uh, time restructuring, we use this Lodash module. Now the next portion which we have learned, or I told you to complete that, was to uh, call the two thing. I mean, send SMS. Okay, so how can you do that thing? See, for sending an SMS, you have to meet some service provider. Okay, any service provider we can provide you the SMS. So it's depend upon I mean, how you have done or what service provider you have done for testing. See, I can use this service provider. Okay, the simple service provider, and you have to log in and register here, and this is for just for testing. Okay, and then what we can do, I mean, every service provider will have this kind of UI, user interface, which they will provide. So you can go to this dev API or API portions kind of things. Okay, so I mean, I have used this fast to SMS for my testing. For your case, you can do anything. Okay, and then when you go there, you see you can get the different details like the API keys, right? For my case, it this. For your case, it might be different. So we have to copy this, and then they will provide you some kind of API, like how we can send. those, our data um, to the given place. Okay, like for my case, what I am doing, I am just sending the OTP SMS. So they have provided you these routes. You can go to these docs, and inside the docs they will give you some kind of codes. Okay, some kind of code. You can see this code. Since we are using for Node.js, we can click on Node.js. We will get the code. Okay, and inside the code, if you see this thing, see, they will tell you to give you your API key. So from where you will get the API key, you can get it from this. So similar kind of GUI you will get from some different places. So you can utilize it. Okay. So for free, I got this and I have used this. So any one of you have implemented this thing before or try to do this thing? No.
No, Firdous.
Okay. Okay. So it's very simple. It's very simple. You have to just register here. It's for free, or find some other also. I mean, based on your need, like whether you are happy with this or not. Okay, I mean, uh, so it's very simple thing. I mean, you have to go to the dev portals. There you can get the API key, right? And then for documentation, you can click here. It will put it here. It will send you here, and then based on the languages which we used, we have to select the language, and this is our code. So if you see my function, so this is our code, right? So to generate any OTP, I'm using this. This is the key which we get, which I get from their website, and I'm just sending mail from here. Okay. The next function which I told you to please complete it, that was regarding the emails. Okay. To generate the email, we need to use this module, node mailer. Okay. Node mailer will help you to send mail. Right, if you check this thing, you will get the code. I did not did anything. I just copy this codes. Okay, copy this codes, copy this code, and just paste it here. Right, so based on the different and I just pasted here. What I did, I am reading my email. I mean, in dev, I have kept my email and password, so I read it here, and then whenever I will send the mail, this is for I have used in OTP generation. So when I generate an OTP, OTP outside. No, it was on. Oh, sorry, controller. It should be inside login controller. Yeah. See, when user generate an OTP, what I'm doing, if they are doing from email ID, I'm sending email, right? And if I do it doing through mobiles, I'm sending it SMS there. So you can see I have created the two different function, right? So this is email function and this is for admin OTP. If you go to this login portion and if you go to this utils, I have done something, right? Now, when you hit this API, it will not work. Okay, it will not work at all. Why it will not work? Because it will say like you will provide everything perfectly, the data and everything perfectly, but still this will not work. Why? Because if you're using a Gmail service, then Gmail will not allow you to forward a mail, okay, from any service. So what you have to do, you have to register yourself. Okay. So you have to do these steps, these steps, and then and one more thing, this Greek4Jig is a very important, a very good website. Okay, you can utilize this code. Uh, it it's very helpful. Uh, it is not from here. It will not allow you to send mail using Gmail. Yeah, you have to follow something. Okay, you have to go to your application and make it less secure. If you are not using the two-phase authentication, so with this less secure only it will work. Else you have to do some configuration thing. Okay, you have to authenticate your application, mean create an application and do some authentication thing. Mean you can find those details here. Okay, then only you can send mail. Right? And if you're using an SMTP, your own SMTP server, then there would be no problem. In host, where you will host your application, you can create an SMTP server there. So this will call that SMTP server. So from your domain, it will send you the mails. Okay. So mail can only be sent through two places. First is from your domain, the domain where your server is hosted, and to have an email service, you have to configure your SMTP service. Okay, so for that you need a server and you need a SMTP enabled inside your server. Then only for host you can forward mail. This kind of service provider will give you this SMTP, and through that you can send your mails, right? And if you are using Gmail for general purpose, if you are using a development and using a Gmail, then you have to do some authentications. Okay, two two way we can do. If your application, if your Gmail is less secure, if your Gmail is less secure, then you can enable the less secure uh, API. I mean less secure settings. Okay, in your Gmail accounts. I would request you to just to check those things, like how you can use that, how you can configure that, because you have to go to your account and you have to configure that thing. Okay, so these are the thing I have teach you, and I think I just request you to have a command on this thing, right? So other than this, anybody have any issue? Oh. Anything which they did not able to understand till now? I mean,
Actually, you have given me the particular API key related website. Okay, the API key related documentation website. Uh, for that, it is for sending the mail only, not for the mobile SMS like that.
which one? Like this fast to SMS. See,
Ah, yes,
uh,
yes.
you can use any SMS service. I just given you one example. Okay. Yeah, this service is used to send a mobile SMS only. Okay, it will send a mobile SMS, nothing else. Okay, and for calling it will not work because it's for India. So for calling you have to find any service provider which provide you the free SMS. Okay, it's very simple. All service provider use the similar technique. They will have their own GUI. Go to the dev portal. It's dev API for someone. It's dev portal for someone. Any other name. Go to that thing, that place. You search for any API key or things. Okay, they will have a proper document for that. So for my case, I've used this thing, and I can see this is my API key. I can copy it and put it somewhere because I know I will need this thing. And then you have to go to that service provider API documentation. For this example, this is for fast to SMS API provider. Okay, and inside the document they will write everything like how can we send a SMS, so OTP SMS API, right? So this is the methods, and these different languages they support. So generally all the service providers support multiple language, so JavaScript or Node.js, Java, PHP, Python. So these are some standard language which every service provider support, so no need to worry. So you will get the code, you just need to copy this code and put it inside your server. Okay, like for my case, I have created here, and inside this function I put it here. Okay, and then done some changes like to email mean whom to send. I have sent it through functions, and the OTP which I generated, I am sending it through function. And then whatever they said, the same way sorry, it was for SMS. Yeah. So whatever they said, I have used the same code, and then instead of this authorization, this key, our API key, the key which I created from here, which I got from here, I just copied it and use it, and that's it. If you have everything um, done perfectly, then this code will work and send you the SMS. Okay, and since it's require the Unirest, so I have to install this Unirest modules. Okay, before using it. So this was regarding sending SMS, and sending email. Same thing. I would say it's a same thing. I mean, I use the node mailer. I got this code from this node mailer. Got, and then inside service for but for mail, there are some trick. There are some issue. Okay, what issue is, like, you should have, if you are running inside a server, if you have any server like Amazon.com, the mail should come from Amazon.com, right? It So for that, if you have any server, you have to configure the SMTP for your server. SMTP mean it's for sending mail protocol, okay, which any server have. So unless you have a SMTP server enabled in your system or inside your server, you cannot send mail. So for that, if you want to send mail from your server, you have to first enable SMTP for the server, and then only you can send mail. So this is a code which we get from from node mailer. And then for your username and email, you have to change that Gmail ID or that user email ID and password from where you want to send a mail. For my example, I have used Gmail. Now Gmail will have one or two problems. If you want to send a mail through, let me show you. Okay. Yeah. So generally it should be the mail should come from your server only. But for that you have to enable the SMTP for the server. But what happened generally, and sometime since we are doing testing, we cannot buy server, right? So we can use our own Gmail account to send a mail. Yeah, you can send mail through your Gmail account also, but for that you have to configure your SMTP for your Gmail account. Okay. For that, if you have to go to your Google Developer Console, Google Console. Okay, sorry, Google Developer Console. Okay, Google developer. Yeah, you have to go to your Google developer console, and then you have to enable few things. Okay, like for your email, for your email, you have to make your email as less secure. So there is a security concern. If you do that thing, your email ID will become a less secure email ID, right? And you may have some issue with that. Or what you can do is to use Google a Gmail service. Okay, Gmail API service uh, of Google Clouds. So before doing that thing, I would request you to do some research. Okay, so this is a Google API service which is which are given by Google Cloud. So those we can use and enable, like the way we are using MongoDB services. Okay, so we can use this, enable this, and then and try those API. So, but before that, I would request you all to do some search, do some search from your end, so that you could also able to know this thing, like why it is happening. So that's it for today. Okay, so these are the thing, and again, I want you to, I don't want to just uh, have this class and over. I want you all to do this thing by your own way, right? By your own. I mean, you can and take my word, if you can do only this thing, whatever thing I have taught you, if you can do it from from your end, you can do any coding by your own. Okay. uh, and one important thing, yesterday, tomorrow I may not have class. Okay, sorry for that. And next week also I am out of station. Okay. uh, Okay. Last thing, which I will just tell you, like Kaustav or Vinit, do you know how to push our code to server? I think you both are working, right? So how we push our code to server?
Server means in GitHub.
Okay.
In
No,
GitHub.
how you make no how you make your application live?
Well, that means you are asking about the hosting.
Hosting. Yes.
No, no, we never tried actually.
Okay. Okay. Let me explain that also, so that you see. Generally, what we do, I mean, we have our code here. Okay. We have our code in some repository. For my case, I'm using Node.js. Okay, but for different person, it can be a different, right? And then what we do, we run some pipelines, Jenkins pipelines, or any other way to do a deployment. Deployment is nothing but to run this thing, run this command, right? Run this command, run this npm start command, and npm build and npm start command. Okay, so these two kind of command which we give, right? And and before that, what we do, we have to move this code. We have to take this code from GitHub and move it to some place, and that we call as a server. So we have to take this code from here, and then put it inside a server, and then run few commands. So for that, we need to, there are different way, like we can use I mean FTP, file transfer protocol, or if you're using Amazon, then Amazon console, or using some kind of pipeline, where we give some kind of commands, okay, to pull those code and everything. And but for now, I can show you one free hosting site. Let me see I have that or not. I forgot the name actually. Sorry for that. I forgot the name. Tell me my server. This is the server render. Okay. So let's come to this render. Okay. You can also use this thing. So what we can do, we can host our application. Okay. Let me. Okay. So this is a free hosting site. We can use it, and I would request you all to utilize the free hosting for Amazon service or Google service and everything. Okay, utilize those also. Let me go to my inbox and see whether I can able to log in or not. Okay. Okay. First thing you have to go to some hosting site. Okay, it may be AWS, any place. So for my case or our case, we are learning, so we can use this render.com, and it allow you to a free service also. Okay, so what I will do, I will create a web service since we will use a web application. So for that, I can use a web service. This was the thing. Okay, go to new web service, right? Then you have to connect your repository. Okay, there should be a GitHub repository, right? Please log into the GitHub. Okay, let me log out and log in through GitHubs only. Okay. So if you have done that thing, it will create you something like this. Okay. Let me create one. Let me create one deployment, then it would be better. And if you want, you can also do it side by side also.
Next week you have a class.
Yeah, next
Yeah.
week I have a class. Sorry. Okay. Okay. So what you have to do, you have to come here, and then you have to choose the web server. Okay. When you choose the web server, it will take you here, and then sorry for this. Actually, next week is a holiday. Okay. And then what I have to do, what we have to do, we have to give these details, like which repository which we want to push our code. Okay. If we want to see, uh, let me see what it contain here. Another time, I would request you to have everything, have your code running i- inside a server, so that you can show your code to everyone, right? Like this is our code. Repository name is Node.js tutorial. So this is the repository. I just wanted to see whether we have any DB connection or everything or not. Mm, yeah, we have a DB connection. Okay. Let me run a simple code first. Okay. That would be better. Hello world kind of code. That would be better. Yeah, this one. Okay. Yep. Yeah. See, I have only one URL. When I hit that URL, I get hello world to my Technophile family. Okay. So I want to, sorry, I want to run this code. So for that, I need to know my repository. So let me, yeah, this is my repository URL. Okay. I pick it from here and then I will edit it, search it, and I get it. I will first connect to my repository. Let me. It would be better to delete this thing. What happened? It doing everything at once. Let me delete this. Okay, delete this web service and then show you again. That would be better. That would be better. Yeah. So I don't have, right. So if you log in here, render dot. If you log in here, you will get this thing. It would be better. So what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to host my Hello World application. Okay. The server does not contain anything. It just contain this Hello World, right? When we hit this URL, it will get the Hello World. So how I can do this? I will click here. Sorry. I will pick up the paste URL, git URL from here, paste it here, connect connect it to our application, and then I have to give the service name, right? The service name would be hello world or any name, okay, based on your, okay. And then you have to choose a region. Generally, we choose a region which is near to us, okay. And then this branch, see, we can have a different deployment for different branch. Like we can have multiple branch for dev, test, stage, and everything. For now, we have only one branch there. Since it's showing one branch, let it be. Uh, Root directory, we don't need runtime node. Yeah, build command. Inside build command, you have to type npm install. Okay, this will create a build. For Java, it can be a different command. For different thing, it can be different command. Let me see. Yeah, it's server.js. Okay, so it wrote it took this command from my package.json. I think. Let me see the package.json. Yes, it took what I wrote here, npm node server.js, the start command it took from here. And then since we are trying for free, so I took a free. It contains 0.1 CPU, so very less memory, but for testing, it's well and good. Okay, you will just have to create. Yeah, click this create server, and then you can see your deployment start. Okay, so your code from first thing what it did, it clone your application, and then it start your build. It mean it start your uh, installation for all the dependency which you have. Mean it create the build, and once it build successful, so build has been successful, and then it will deploy our code. Very easy, na? Yeah, see, your application are done. Okay, it's been running, and this is the URL. Okay, this is the URL. So if we hit this URL, I will surely get hello world. Let me see whether everything okay. Still some deployment are going on. When it complete, we will we can use this
But,
URL.
if we have many files like one server.js, one env file we have in our application, but we have many many root files, many controller.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It will work. It will work. Okay. I
So,
only doubt regarding the .env. So for now, for this free account, instead of .env, yeah, it will work. So all the .env details you have to provide inside this environment. Okay.
so I am asking that all the files I need to all the only server.
Nothing you have to provide. You have to provide only those things which I have provided here. What I provided, I just given the name, right? I just selected the region, and then I just link my GitHub account, right? I just link my GitHub account, and then regarding whatever thing you have in this page, in this .env page, okay, whatever thing you have to copy the same name here, and you have to go to this environment variables, okay, add it the same name. Don't do any mistake while copying the name and the same data. You have to paste it there, okay. Copy it. I did not copy it fully. You have to paste it there, okay. Similarly add another environment variables. So same name, port, my port was 3000. Okay, I can skip the port also, but and then we have to save the change, right? So for this code for these jobs which I have here, I mean we have these kind of things. Okay, these are our environment variables. So in server in this place in where I hosted those things, it instead of reading those detail from here, it will read it from this variables. Nothing other than this, we don't need to do anything. Okay.
Yeah, just we had to link the GitHub URL. Later we had to give build command and run command. Then
Yeah.
we have to give environment variables and we
Yes.
have to give. That's it.
That's it. Okay. You can do the manual deployment also. Okay. Deploy the latest command means suppose if you want to do the deployment again, then you have to come here, just click the deploy latest command. So what it will do, it will deploy the latest commands. For now I have this. Let me see whether I have that application with me or not. Uh, so this is, so I just want you two three, I mean whoever here, to have a command on this thing. Okay, it's not learning. I mean this thing will be it's not related to Node.js, I would say. It's related to everything, right? I mean, 5 minute or bas 5 minute. Okay, let me. Okay, let me make a clone of that application, and inside the server, instead of this, okay, okay, this shows like there is a change in the server page. Same thing. I will sync this thing. Our sync got complete. And if I refresh this, you can see, yeah, now I can see new code. Okay. So when I go here, sorry, when I go to the service, I will check this thing, deploy new code. So new deployment will start. Okay. And if you see what it will do, it will check and do the deployment. Hello. Okay. So what I did, I made a changes and then I came here and manually done the deployment. Okay. And I think it deploys has been confirmed that it is live. So now you can see I have made the changes and I can see the changes here, right? So easy. So I would request you all to host your application to complete the Gmail service. That's it. And to check each and every part of the code, like whatever thing I have done here. So see you after 2 weeks, right? Not today. I would say next class will be on 19. Okay. Anything from you too? So did you learn anything from these classes, or it was just a time wasting thing?
Now for this, we learned how the Node.js, even though we know Node.js, but how practical project would be, we came to know.
So my request is only one thing, like whatever thing you have done, in implement those things, put it inside a server so that you can also showcase those things, right? And this the whole, I would say, uh, this thing we generally do, even if we work for some year, we do not able to see those things, like how actually these things are working, right? But regarding this deployment, I mean, these are handled by the DevOps team, but what it is very easy thing, right? Regarding this environment variable, if you are working in any company, you have to send mail to your DevOps team, right? Hey, please add these variables, or your manager will only have access of this thing,
Yes, yes.
right? Actually, it's a very complex thing, but not a very difficult one. And if you gain an experience, and if you know this thing, like something happen like in this way, even if you go to AWS or Google Cloud or Azure, you can find those things. Like you need to find something like this, and you can easily build up your application there, right? And complete the send mail portion also. Search in YouTube also. I also used to do that thing only. Everyone does not have a knowledge of everything. Search on YouTube also, like how they have implemented for the Gmails, and do that thing for, because I do not want to waste any money of any person. Like you have to create any server, then SMTP and everything. Why wasting any money in for just for learning, if it is free, right? Okay. Okay, bye for now, and thank you for cooperating and everything. Okay.
Thanks, Firdous. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Firdous, I have a doubt.
Yes.